Hi. Today I want to talk about the forgotten teen drama from 2000. Not the 2000s, but like the year 2000. Young Americans. Now, to my understanding, this was a Warner Brothers production of sorts, and Warner Brothers was trying to like bank off the longevity of popular teen dramas at the time, such as Dawson's Creek. So, Young Americans is a spin off of Dawson's Creek. Apparently, there was like a special episode in Dawson's Creek that starred like or introduced one of the main characters of Young Americans to kind of get the ball rolling on the spin off. Now, this show aired during the summer of 2000, so from like July to August, and despite apparently being heavily promoted, which I can believe because their sponsorship for the whole series is Coca-Cola. And to my understanding, like Dawson's Creek was a very popular show at the time. So I don't know why this show would have done poorly. Like, I don't understand why this show didn't do well. It had low ratings, and the film location was expensive. So they filmed in North Carolina, where Dawson's Creek was filmed. And apparently it was just really expensive to shoot there, so they pulled the plug. So there are only 8 episodes to the series, which sucks. Because it really is a decent show, I'm not gonna lie. The acting's not good. Like, the acting's not great. The characters are all very cookie cutter, but there were some perks, there were some upsides that I will talk about later. But yeah, I guess the show was just not built for longevity to withstand the test of the 2000s teen dramas. So I originally watched this series for the first time in like, I want to say 2015. And I found it because Ian Somerhalder is in this show and he is a main character, which is the only reason that I even checked this show out, but I ended up really liking it. I haven't watched it since, so it's been like 10 years since I last watched this show. And then I was thinking about it again kind of recently. I could not find this show anywhere online. Anywhere. Like, it just does not exist. I'm like, who scrubbed this show from the internet? The only place I could find it was Internet Archives. And it's not the best quality, okay? Like, I don't even know if it's 360 pixels, to be honest with you. So this story is broken up into, like, 3 separate plots that, I guess, intertwine and come together because, like, the group is all friends, so, you know. Anywho. So the first plotline follows Will, the most boring, in my opinion, okay? His plotline is just very cookie cutter. And then we have Scout and Bella Banks, and we have Hamilton and Jake. Those 2 plot lines are the best ones. That's the only thing holding me to the show. Trust and believe. Okay, let's get into it. So the story starts with Will, who is this working class teen that manages to get a scholarship into the prestigious boarding school, Raleigh Academy. Now, this school's typically for, like, the rich New England kids, but our boy managed to get that scholarship. And he's being dropped off to the campus by his parents, and you can tell there's, like, some tension between him and his father. His dad just seems like a rough kind of guy. Like, I don't think he's abusive, but anyway. And as soon as he steps out of the truck, he meets Scout Calhoun, who happens to be his new roommate. And, like, they are buddy-buddy immediately. Like, they're dapping each other up. They're acting like they've known each other for 10 years or something. Now, Raleigh is split up into 2 campuses. You have Raleigh for girls and then Raleigh for boys. And they have, like, a streaking tradition or something like that. So everybody's just, like, half naked running across the campus. Anyway, so to get closer, the 2 decide to share secrets. I don't know why you would do this with something that you literally just met, but whatever. They're trying to, like, one-up each other every time. You know, he says some stuff, and then Scout drops, like, the craziest secret that he can, and he says that he hooked up with his mom's friend. Okay, mind you, they're, like, 15 or something. Hooked up with his mom's friend, and got her pregnant.
No, ma'am.
Anyway, this prompts Will to then tell him, because he's like, oh, I gotta one up that secret, because that one's crazy. So Will tells him that he cheated on his entrance exam to get into Rowley. Scout immediately stops and is like, huh? He's like, dude, I was kidding. Like, are you being for real? So instead of Will just, saying that he was joking too, he just tells him the truth. He's like, look, man, just don't tell anybody or whatever. And Scout's like, dude, I'm not gonna tell anyone because he's a rich kid. Like, this doesn't affect his life in the slightest. And they're becoming friends, so why would he ruin that? Now, as they're walking back, they pass through town, half naked. No one finds that weird. And this seems to be like the main center of the town, I guess, where they see Bella Banks. Now, Scout had seen her earlier on when he was like riding to the school on his bike. And I think he even gave her like a Coca-Cola. And they were making eyes at each other. Like, there was immediate hearts. There was vibes, And now he's seeing her again. And Will's like, oh, hey, Bella. So Will and Bella are friends. And they've known each other since they were kids or whatever. So that is Scout's in. The friendship that they have is his in. You feel me? Later on that night, though, they go back to their dorm. They're chit-chatting in their room. It's nighttime, right? Everybody should be asleep. Now, no one told them that the walls are thin. So their teacher, Finn, the walls are thin, their teacher, Finn, happens to be lurking outside of their room for some reason. Well, he's like fixing the light bulb or whatever. That's not the point. The point is he's eavesdropping on them. And he hears them talking about how Will cheated on the entrance exam. And he's not happy about this. Because over the past couple of days, he's gotten to know Will and he really likes him. Like, it's giving father figure. It's giving, if I could, I would adopt you. So Finn really likes him, so this like breaks Finn's heart to know the truth. But on to more exciting matters. Scout actually goes back to the gas station that Bella Banks works at and her family owns to like chat her up a bit because he decides to get a part-time job right across the street from the gas station where Will also happens to work, which is how he got the job. Because he's like, oh, my dad wants me to be like, have experience or whatever. And it's like, dude, you're sitting in a trust fund. You don't have to work here. But anywho. And so him and Bella, they get to talking. They clearly like each other. There's vibes. So they go on like a cute little date. And she says some crazy things right off jump. I'm not going to lie. Like, they've only known each other for a hot minute. And she's talking about how she can see a future with him. And he's like, yeah, me too. Like, I feel that.
Is this the guy I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with? Oh, God, I can't believe I just said that.
No, I love that. That is awesome.
And I'm just like, how old are y'all again? Like 15, 16? Stop. Stop immediately. The chances of you staying with your high school sweetheart, it's iffy. It's iffy. Especially with their class backgrounds. Like, she's poor, and he's not. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is when he goes, like, a few days later or whatever, to pick her up for one of her dates, Bella's dad, who he did meet once, okay, he met him one time, and Bella's dad was kind of icy towards him. He was kind of like, Which, Scout is not a bad guy. Okay, he's really not. He seems like a really good guy, actually. He's just rich, which honestly is like a bonus, if anything. But the dad is kind of cold to him when they first meet, and he's thinking, oh well, this is his baby girl, that's why the dad doesn't really like me. I just gotta prove to him that I'm a good guy, which is fair. But when he goes to the gas station to meet up with Bella, the dad pulls him aside and is like, look, Scout, you seem like a great kid, you can't date her. And Scout's like, okay, dude, I know this is your little girl, like, I know I'm rich or whatever, but that doesn't make me a bad guy automatically. Like, I'm a good guy, I'll take care of her, yada, yada, yada. That's not the issue he has. He says, look, kid, your dad and Bella's mom, by the way, is not in the picture, okay? She's MIA. She left when Bella was, like, a kid. He's like, Bella's mom and your father hooked up once. Okay, she had an affair, she cheated on me, she hooked up with your dad. Bella is the product of that affair. You can't be with her. AKA, they are half siblings. Mind you, they've already kissed, they're already telling each other that they're in love and that they see a future together and all this other stuff. Sorry to keep the suspense on that one, but now we're going to talk about Jake and Hamilton. So, back at the school, Hamilton, who is the headmaster's son, okay, of the school, so you can imagine he's not the most popular, despite being played by Ian Somerhalder. He likes photography, so he's like hanging out of a window taking pictures of the girls' side of the school. Very pervy of him. But in his line of sight, he sees the new boy pulling up on a motorcycle. Yes, leather jackets, motorcycle, bad boy. And it catches his eye and he's intrigued because Hamilton's a little bit rebellious, I guess. He's kind of like, screw the parentals, like that's his energy. So he's immediately like, I need to be friends with that guy right now. Now, this guy's name is Jake. And these two, so all these characters join the rowing team. Is that what it's called? I guess so, right? Like, the rowing team. That's such a, like, preppy sport. So they're all on the team together, and that's how they all kind of become friends. And that's when Hamilton kind of like makes his move on Jake to befriend him. You know, he's like, dude, I saw that motorcycle, pretty sick, but you're not supposed to have it on campus. By the way, I'm the dean's son, so you know. I know all the best hiding spots in the school, yada yada yada. And so Jake is kind of like, oh, okay, fine. Like, we can be friends. Help me hide my motorcycle, that kind of thing. And the two kind of get into mischief together. Now, during one of their pranks or whatever, they go up to the rooftop and they're kind of fine and dandy, and Hamilton's giving Jake advice on, like, girls and stuff. Let me just say this now. Hamilton, despite being played by Ian Somerhalder, he does not get any play like that. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. He's not rolling in girls, like, they're not showing interest in him like that. He looks like he has zero experience. Zero experience. Which is fine, but he's fronting like he does have experience and that he's qualified to give any kind of dating advice. And Jake is clocking this immediately, okay? He thinks it's kind of cute and funny because it's so obvious that Hamilton is just not experienced like that. Anyway, they're on the roof. Hamilton decides that he has to take a piss, so he just whips it out right there and pees off the side of the roof, which shocks Jake, and he's like, what are you doing? And after a few more words being exchanged, they're kind of close to each other, and I don't know, the vibes have been good for the past several days, and Jake leans in and kisses Hamilton.
Ooh. Oh God, I'm sorry.
It's very cute. It's very cute. Jake immediately stops himself and pulls away and is like, ooh, my bad. And Hamilton's just there shocked, like, he's probably never had a first kiss before, so, you know. And Jake is kind of like, yeah, that was weird. I won't do that again. I'm gonna go. And then he runs off. And Hamilton is just stunned. He has no words. Now, the next day rolls around, and Hamilton decides to go and confront Jake about this. He needed a whole 24 hours to think about this. He goes to Jake's room, closes the door so everything's kind of secret-like, and Jake is acting like this is not even that big of a deal, because it's really not, but I guess in the 2000s, it really was, especially amongst teenage boys. And so Hamilton is just like, dude, if you ever do that again, I'm gonna punch you in the face. That's like his go-to thing. Hamilton's always trying to be like this macho man kind of vibe. It's just really funny, if anything, because he's just not that person. And it's okay. But he's trying to be that person, that like stereotypical like alpha male. And he always misses the mark, but anyway. And they continue on with their friendship. But there's always that lingering vibe. And Hamilton actually felt the vibes much earlier between them, like even before the kiss happened.
Oh my God, I think I'm a gay.
So Will finally gets confronted by Finn, the teacher, and Finn is like, look, I know that you cheated on the test or whatever, which obviously the consequences for that would be expulsion, and he just got there like a few weeks ago, and he's like, wait, what? No. So instead of telling the dean, Finn gives him a chance, because he's a smart kid and he knows that he could have passed this test on his own, right, without cheating. So he like tells him to write an essay about something. I don't even know. I don't care, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't care about Will's story. He tells him to write an essay. He does a good job on the essay, and he doesn't tell the dean, and he gets to stay at the school. Yay! That's his first little storyline wrapped up perfectly in a bow. Scout finally talks to Bella for the first time after finding out the truth from her dad, and obviously Bella's dad told her. I mean, she knew her mom had... I guess she knew her mom had, like, an affair, but she didn't know that it was with Scout's father. So they meet up at, like, the pond, and they decide to just be friends. Again, they've already kissed. They've talked about how they would love to have a life together. But they're gonna try and be friends. Okay. Then, at the end of the episode, we get to see Jake winding down for the night. Okay. He's in his room. He doesn't share a dorm room. Like, he doesn't have a roommate. It's just him. And he strips off all his clothes, and we see that he's wearing a bra and panties. Jake is actually Jacqueline. Surprise! So, yeah. Jake is actually Jacqueline. She's cross-dressing as a guy to go to Rowley Boys Academy to piss off her mom. Or to get her mom's attention, I guess. So her mom is like some kind of famous actress, and so she's like MIA all the time. So Jacqueline pretty much just raised herself, and so she's like messing with her mom, or like wants her mom's attention. And that is basically the pilot, which I think was a really good pilot, and I mean, it drew my interest. Like, it definitely made me want to continue watching the show. Although I will say, I was kind of annoyed that they revealed that Jake is actually Jacqueline. I feel like that was a little too soon. It was a little bit too soon. Same thing with the reveal of like the half siblings plot with Scout and Bella. Like, a little too soon. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it was a good thing that they, you know, said it early on. I don't know how I feel about that. Only because I feel like it would be fun to learn that a little bit later, like maybe episode like 3. Because when the audience already knows that, for example, that Jake is actually Jacqueline, it's just not as fun. When we didn't know, it was fun. Those are my notes on the first episode. And Will is just such a boring character to me. Only because his story's so boring in comparison to the other 2 plot lines. In the following episodes, we, you know, get a few more new characters. One of them being Sean, I think that's his name in the show, Sean, who is Will's, like, best friend. And he is played by, I always butcher this guy's last name, Matt Sugfree? I think that's how you say it. He's like the blonde rich guy, Nepo baby, in Gilmore Girls that Rory dates for a little bit. Where he's like, girl, I know I'm a Nepo baby, but you won't admit that you're one too. Him. I actually like his character in this show too. He's playing a poor kid now, instead of the rich kid. Anyways, throughout the rest of the episodes, the tension between like Bella and Scout is like at an all-time high. Because they both try and date other people. Like Bella tries dating Sean, who they've known each other since childhood, and he's a good guy. And Scout dates this girl that's like his childhood friend or whatever, and she's rich and a Nepo baby too, so. But obviously they want each other still, and like they show jealousy towards each other even though they know they can't be together, and I'm just like, oh god. This is too much for me, babe. Whereas Hamilton is still struggling struggling with his sexuality now because now he's confused. He's thinking he's gay, and he's trying to deal with that by perhaps dating this girl. They go to, well, he asks her if she wants to go to like the drive-in, and she's like, yeah. And then Jake shows up, and she has a crush on Jake because she thinks he's hot. And so she invites him along. So then it's the three of them at the drive-in, and oh my god, the scene is so funny because they both like Jake, except Hamilton like won't really admit it to himself yet. So they're both like sitting on either side of Jake, and Jake is just in the middle, like, ugh, the tension. It's giving that scene from Twilight where in New Moon where Bella goes to the movies with Mike and Jacob. That's what I thought of. I was like, oh girl, you're Kristen Stewart. You know what? She kind of looks like Kristen Stewart a little bit. Like, it's giving, this girl is what Kristen Stewart turned into. But she did it first. Okay. That scene is really funny and cute. And my other favorite scene... So they have, like, this cotillion dance. I don't even know what that is. That's, like, rich people talk for real. And Hamilton and Jake, like, weren't gonna go with anybody. They were gonna, like, go solo kind of thing. And then the redhead, who likes Jake, but Jake kind of made it clear that, like, that wasn't the vibe. So Hamilton asked her to go. And so she goes with Hamilton, even though she's like, Hamilton, clearly Jake doesn't like me. He likes you, and you obviously like him. And Hamilton's just like, whoa, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? She's just like, boy, bye. She's like, sometimes you just gotta throw caution to the wind. So while they're at the dance, he, like, follows Jake into the bathroom. And so he passionately kisses Jake.
What are you doing?
Throwing caution to the wind.
No.
Jake, aka Jacqueline, was planning on telling Hamilton that she's a girl. And so she's like, okay, well, perfect time to do this, since you just kissed me and, like, you're okay with this. So she pulls him into the stall. Well, she tells him first that she's a girl, and he's just like, I don't know about that. So she pulls him into one of the stalls to, like, open up her top and show that, oh, I'm wearing a bra. And then he's like, okay, runs out. Although you would think that he'd be a little happier. I understand, he feels deceived. But you would think he'd be, like, a little happier since he's been struggling with his sexuality for weeks at this point. But throughout the rest of the show, they do decide to try dating each other. And obviously all the boys at the school in the dorms, like, think they're gay. They're not openly dating, but they're so obviously dating. And no one really seems to have, like, an actual problem with it because, like, statistically speaking, this, like, you know, there's probably hundreds of boys at this school. Some of them have to be gay for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, and Scout and Will are also quite supportive. Like, they don't say anything, but they are just like, oh yeah, they have to be dating. Like, they're making it so obvious. But then at a certain point, Jacqueline feels bad because Hamilton is being called gay. Well, they're both being called gay, but she's like, I'm a girl, so that's not possible. But other people don't know that she's a girl, so she feels bad for Hamilton because Hamilton is weak-minded. And, you know, those kind of comments, like, annoy him at first. But then he's like, no, I don't care, it doesn't matter, I just want you. And he drops the L-bomb and everything. It's... yeah. Their relationship gets complicated quick. He tries to move into her dorm with her at one point. She's like, are you insane? Like, that's not happening. And I guess I'll talk about Will again real quick. Will finds this new rich girl that's, like, new to the school, and he has a crush on her because she's, like, the prettiest girl or whatever, and he just thinks that he can't get with her because he's poor, and, like, I'm like, you're kind of right, though, because long term this is not gonna work out. Just saying. Unless you become rich very soon. And as for Scout and Bella, it's Bella's birthday, and her mom, who she hasn't seen in like 10 years, sends her a birthday gift, which she doesn't open. But the important part is, there is a return mailing address on the package that Scout decides to take because he selfishly wants to know the truth. Like, he wants to confirm, essentially, that him and Bella are or aren't related, which is fair because right now they're going off of what her dad said. Although, it's like, is there anything to really dispute that? Scout also does ask his father about it, like, because Bella decides that she maybe wants to meet him at one point, only because Scout was pushing her to. So, you know, Scout tells his dad about how there's this girl that is apparently his half-daughter, or his daughter, and the dad is just like, I don't know about that. But also, like, he's like a politician or whatever, so he's like in a high place, so that would be a very scandalous thing if it was true, so he wants to keep that hush-hush. So Scout wants to go to the source and ask Bella's mom, but then after talking to Will, and Will's like, are you insane? Like, what makes you think that's a good idea? You have no right. And he's like, okay, you're right, I won't. But then Bella's gas station that her dad, well, apparently he doesn't own it, it's under her mom's name, and her mom never signed it over to the dad, and her mom put it up for auction despite not seeing her children and being there for the past 10 years. Since that gas station is like their livelihood, because not only do they live above the gas station, but they run it. Like, that is their livelihood. So all of them decide to, well, this is the last, this is like the finale. Spoilers if you want to watch the show. All of them go on like a little road trip for the day, if you will. So Bella is freaking out because she just found out about this auction on the gas station. So she's like, oh my god, I need to go to my mom, even though I don't want to see her, to get her to sign over the papers to my dad so that we can keep the gas station because that's our livelihood. Jacqueline and Jake Jacqueline and Hamilton try to get freaky in the showers, which is stupid. So it's like the end of the summer term, so now you can go and enjoy the rest of your summer. I don't know how this works, okay, because it's summertime, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's summertime during this. So they've been like having classes for pretty much the whole summer, and now for like the last couple weeks of summer, they're free to go. But not everyone has left the building, so I don't know why they think this is like a good idea. But Hamilton's gonna go take a shower, and he's asking Jacqueline to like join him. Mind you, they've not gone that far yet. The most they've done is kiss, okay? So she's kind of feeling spontaneous, so she's like, alright, fine. And she only gets her top off, and then Finn, the teacher, walks in because he's covered in like, I don't know, silly string or something from the students like pranking him. And it's not clear if he actually sees what's going on here or not. Because she covered up pretty fast, so I don't think he knows that she's a girl, but he did see something. Like, nothing happened between them, they didn't get that far, but he saw something. But she freaks out assuming that he saw her as a her, so she runs out and is like, oh my god, I gotta get out of town. She was already gonna leave for New York because that's where her mom is right now, but now she's like, yeah, I definitely gotta go. But as she's trying to flee town, her bike like gets messed up, so she takes it to Bella to fix, but Bella's like, I can't deal with this right now, I need to go. And she's like, okay, well, take me with you because I can't stay here. I don't know what she thought was gonna happen. I was like, do you think Finn the teacher is going to like run through town looking for you to like expel you from the school because you're a girl? Like, he's not doing all that. Like, I'm sure they don't pay him enough. Anyway, and then Will, because the school is making like budget cuts or whatever, he loses his scholarship because like they're taking the funding for the scholarship back. So Finn is trying to help him, like, dude, you can apply for other scholarships and blah, blah, blah. But Will freaks out and is just like, oh my god, I'm gonna have nowhere to live, which, by the way, he has a home. He just doesn't want to go back to his parents' house because his dad is so hostile. His mom is great, she's lovely. The dad is very hostile, and so he doesn't want to go back home. So he's just like, what am I gonna do? Like, ugh. And Scout doesn't know any of this is happening. So the three of them, well, actually, then Hamilton comes because he chases down Jacqueline and is like, where are you going? She's like, I don't know, I'm going with her on some kind of road trip. And Hamilton's like, I'll come too. Then they pick up Will because Will's like semi-homeless. Even though Finn told him, like, while he's applying for scholarships, like, he could still stay at the school in his dorm, but whatever. I'm like out of breath. And then, because Bella has been dating Sean. Sean shows up to the diner where Scout is working his last shift before he goes off to, I don't know, I think the Caribbean somewhere or something. And he's like, hey, have you seen Bella? Like, she not, like, where's she at? And Scout's like, I have no clue. And then he tells him the situation, and then he's like, oh, I bet she's going to see her mom, yada yada yada. So then they catch a ride to, like, go to where, like, her mom is, because Scout has her mom's address and knows that's where she's going, so they, like, hitch a ride with somebody to get there. But on their way, they see Bella's broken down truck. So she had to swerve to not hit a deer in the road. So they've been, like, stuck in the forest in some abandoned cabin. Thank God. Which is when all the secrets are kind of spilled, you know? The rest of the friend group, because Bella was the only one who clocked it, like, immediately. The first time she met Jake, she knew Jake was a girl. Clocked it immediately. But the rest of them are now finding out. The rest of them are like, oh, okay, interesting, moving on. All the secrets are revealed. They have, like, a little kumbaya. They go to Bella's mom's house. They walk there, by the way. 10 miles or something like that, which I looked it up and it would be about, like, 3 or 4 hours worth of walking to get to the mom's house from the abandoned cabin. But anyway, they get to the mom's house. The mom is like, oh my god, Bella, I miss you. I haven't seen you in 10 years. It's like, yeah, and whose fault is that? The mom essentially tells her that she will not sign over the papers, because they were having, like, a sweet moment, you know? It had been 10 years since they'd seen each other. She was like, you know, I want to be in your life again, blah, blah, blah. They were having, like, a sweet moment. And then when Bella's like, okay, well, I need you to sign over the papers to my dad, like, because that's our lifeline. You can't just sell the... And she's like, no, I put it up for auction. I need the money. Bitch.
Electric chair.
Excuse you? She has 2 daughters, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. Bella has a younger sister. 2 kids. And she's just been living on her own. But she needs the money. Right.
Right.
She doesn't say why she needs the money. She just says she needs the money or whatever. Bella doesn't give her the time of day and storms off with her friends to go back home. But as they're leaving, some guy pulls up in a truck and he gets out and he's like, who was that? And the mom says, your daughter. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that man in the truck was not a senator. Okay, so it was not Scout's father. It was some trucker looking guy. So I guess we're supposed to believe that they're not actually related. So yay! But she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that because she didn't ask. She didn't get the time to because her mom was being selfish. Because I just can't imagine, like... Because in her mind, the mom was going to sell this... Sell the gas station. Get the money from that. And then she wanted to be in her daughter's lives again. Which, mind you, her daughters are... Bella's like 16. And the other sister, I want to say, is maybe a year or 2 younger. She wants to now be in her daughter's lives and take care of them again. So, in her mind, her daughters are going to come and live with her now. And the man that is their father, who has been raising them for all these years, is going to do what? Just be out on his ass? Audacious. Anyway, so they all go back to town. And all their problems are magically not solved. Bella's just like, we're going to fight this. And, you know, we'll be able to keep our gas station. There's, like, a huge sign on the front that the dad just, like, ripped down. And she just, like... very cartoony. And it's like, hopefully they don't get kicked out on their ass. That would be great. But is it likely? I don't know. So, yeah, Jacqueline goes on her vacation. Scout and Will go on their Caribbean vacation. Because Scout asks Will if he wants to come with him. Because he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna be so bored in, you know, wherever he's going. Alone. Like, I'm gonna be so bored on a beautiful tropical island. Okay. And Will doesn't want to impose because he's very, like, strong-headed. But, like, he finally just like, you know what? I might as well take advantage of my rich, wealthy friend when he's inviting me to come with him. Oh, and we do know that Will will get his scholarship back. Because we see Finn, like, pinning up an official letter or whatever saying that you know, he will have his scholarship reinstated and he will be returning to the school for the next semester. Hamilton and Jacqueline are cool. Like, I guess she's gonna return to the school after the break, since I don't think anyone found out. And that is the end of Young Americans. I skipped a lot there. I pretty much did the plot and then the last episode, but you should watch it. I mean, it's a good show. If you can get over how grainy it is, because again, I don't even know if it's like 360 pixels. It's probably less than that. But the storyline is there. You know, the storyline is definitely there. It's entertaining. I don't understand why this show didn't do well. Like, I genuinely don't get it. Like, you have hot people playing the main characters. You have two storylines that are genuinely interesting. I don't know. I just feel like this show should have done better. So apparently I read, I don't know how true this is, but apparently there is somewhat of a cult following for this show somewhere online. Because of Who is Jack? Jacqueline and Hamilton's storyline, and how there's, you know, notable queer themes and gender identity themes, which again was not super common in the 2000s, right? So I understand why. But yeah, this show never really got a fair chance. I wish there was another season, because they do leave you on that little bit of a cliffhanger. Like, you know, everybody kind of just like leaves town for the rest of the summer and they're supposed to come back in the fall, but I would have liked to see more. The acting was not the best. Obviously my favorite storyline is Hamilton and Jacqueline, but Scout and Bella's is a close second, and Will's storylines I could care less about because his are the most boring and basic, which is ironic because he's the main character. Like, he's the one who narrates the story and stuff. So you would think that his would be more interesting. As far as teen dramas go, I've watched several teen dramas in my lifetime. You know, from like the late 2000s or early 2010s mostly. And I say that this one holds up. Like, it really sucks that it didn't get a fair shot, because I think it holds up pretty well. Like, it has some good things in it, and there's some good qualities of the show. Some things are a little predictable and stereotypical, but from my fair share of teen dramas that I've watched, the most recent being One Tree Hill. I never thought I would ever watch that show. Even though I know it was so popular back then, I just never watched it. Until recently, I watched it, like, before the summer. All I will say about One Tree Hill is that I definitely liked it. Brooke is my favorite. I don't like Lucas, and I knew Nathan would be a winner all along. I don't think I have anything else to say about this show, so happy back to school season. And